Hello everybody, welcome to tonight's live stream. Great to be with you all. Let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from so we can all read where each other is listening from. This is live stream number 88 for me. If you enjoy the music, please share it, please subscribe, and I do have a virtual tip jar set up for anyone who'd like to contribute. Let's jump into it right away. That tune's called Byron's Bounce, and it's one of my compositions. I wrote it for my friend Byron Fogo. He's a great music transcriber and great player. So I wanted to let you all know that, as promised, my Christmas album, which I put out last year, is available to purchase on vinyl this year around. So that's pretty cool. If you want to listen to my 13 unique Christmas arrangements played on one solo guitar. So it's a nice, easy album to listen to. It's not full of all the bells and whistles like a lot of the commercial Christmas music is. If you like the way I play and you'd like to enjoy the music over the holidays, then check out my Christmas album, Christmas au Chalet. It's available on vinyl or on CD. And to celebrate, we have some special bundles going on. So if you buy the bundle, you get the vinyl, you get the CD, which is down here. Forgive the commercial, I'll get back to the music in just a moment. You get the CD, and you also get one of these cool beanies, which are very handy if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm in Montana, and yesterday it was about, I think it was 3 degrees Fahrenheit at one point. Which is quite brisk for an Australian lad. So, there you go. I wanted to let you all know about the Christmas promotion we have going on. And if you would like to buy the CD or vinyl for a gift, then it's best to do it soon to make sure we can get them out to you. So, joerobinson.com/Christmas is where you can grab that album. There's also bundles of all my albums if you want to purchase them. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the acoustic right now. This acoustic, for anyone who's wondering, is the Maton JR Signature. So this is my signature model Maton guitar. I'll tell you a little bit about it. How about that? So the back and sides are made from Tasmanian myrtle, which is a wood from the beech family. So it's not actually from the myrtle family. And the neck is made of mahogany, pretty standard guitar neck. Nice, chunky neck. I think a bigger neck has a bigger tone, personally. And we have a rosewood fingerboard, nice warm sound, rosewood saddle, and a spruce top. And the frets are a custom fret wire. They're a little wider than a Martin fret, a little taller than a Gibson fret. Kind of sweet spot, if you ask me. So why don't I show you a little bit about how the guitar sounds. And I better sing a tune as well. This is a tune from my album, The Prize. It's a tune called Fine Line. Here we go. One, two, three, four. It's a fine line that we walk every day. There's a right and a wrong in everything we do and say. It's a fine line, runs through the heart of every woman, man and child, and everyone's got to do their part. It's a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line between the good and the bad, the truth and a fad. It's a fine, fine line. It's a fine line that we dance in our dreams, all alone in the dark where we plan our secret schemes. It's a fine line, rules by we play. We slide 'em, we move 'em and lose 'em with our shades of grey. It's a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line between a win and a loss, the worth and the cost. It's a fine, fine line. When you do, when you don't, it's a fine line. When you will, when you won't, it's a fine line. Between pleasure and pain, it's a fine line. What you lose, what you gain, it's a fine, fine line. It's a fine, fine line. All right, fine line. There we go. I'm enjoying reading the comments out there. See, Biker Man is going to see Tommy Emmanuel in Little Rock, Arkansas in January. That's great. Tommy is I really believe he changed the instrument. He really changed my life, and there's so many players of my generation that have been, just so inspired by Tommy and continue to be. He's really just continuing to push the bar. It's inspiring. Ryan Chen says, whatever happened to that song, Slow Drip? you played in a bathroom somewhere. Love that song. Also love Gotta Keep Moving. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I recorded that song Slow Drip in, that would have been around 2014 or so. I forget how to play it. That's how these things go sometimes. I'm glad you like Gotta Keep Moving. Thank you. That's from my last album, The Prize, to anyone who's tuning in. Well, I posted a tune on my YouTube channel this morning, and it's a tune that I'd like to play for you now. It was written by Peter Green, who was the original founding member of Fleetwood Mac, back when they were a blues band. And the song has 2 chords. It has an E major and an F sharp minor. And it's such a beautiful piece. Kind of puts you in a trance. It's called Albatross. And I learnt it from Phil Emanuel, who was a big mentor to me. We were just talking about Tommy Emanuel. Phil and Tommy are brothers, as many of you know. Were brothers. We lost Phil about 4 years ago now. So here's a bit of Albatross for everybody out there. Thinking of Phil. Isn't that a beautiful song? Albatross, just 2 chords. Look at some of these comments over here. Peace and love from Syria. Thank you, Ro. Peace and love to you as well. Craig says, hi from Nova Scotia. What's your amp and pedal board setup, Joe? Thanks for all your wonderful inspiration. Thanks, Craig. So the amp I'm using is a Magic Tweed Deluxe. I believe it's called the LAX Deluxe from Magic Amplification, Mike Moody. It's a really great amp. And I have the amp in here with me, just off camera. And in the other room, I have a little 10-inch Celestion speaker. And that's what the amp is running into. So for pedals, I'm using a Nobel's ODR1 overdrive and a TC Electronic Hall of Fame reverb. And there's a Boss RC1 loop station going on as well. So there you go. All right. I wanted to let everyone know I have a virtual tip jar set up for these live streams. Actually, it's quite real. It's a real tip jar. The link to it is joerobinson.com/tipjar. And if you enjoy the music and you appreciate what I do, then you can leave a tip. It's very easy to do so. It doesn't take very long. You can leave as little or as much as you want. But the tip jar helps support the music, and I very much appreciate it. I always want these streams to be free to anybody and everybody who wants to listen. But if you do enjoy and you want to contribute and go that extra mile, then I want to say thank you. So the tip jar link is joerobinson.com/tipjar. Okay. I'm going to kind of flip-flop between the acoustic and the electric tonight, I think. I'll play an acoustic instrumental. This tune's called Flow. It's a relatively recent composition of mine. It's one of my favorites to play. Here we go. All right. I realize that I say all right after a lot of songs. It's a bit of a habit, I guess. Zach says, can we just Venmo instead of using the tip jar? Well, Zach, yep, you can. The tip jar has an option for Venmo. So you just go to joerobinson.com/tipjar and there's a little Venmo icon and you can click on it and it has it's linked to my Venmo account. So thank you. I appreciate that, Zach. Federico says, watching from Davao City, Philippines. Have a wonderful day. You too, Frederico. So it must be earlier in the day over there. You're a little closer to Australia. And GJ Valalonga says, love your Florida Lunar Moonflower acoustic cover by Santana. Thank you. Beautifully done. Also, the prize is a real winner in every respect. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. Paul Lammers says, every note heard cleanly, perfectly. Thanks, Paul. You know, I'm a self-operated machine here, and so I appreciate the feedback on whether everything's coming through loud and clear. Sometimes I tweak the settings a little bit, always just trying to get the stream to look and sound better. But it's kind of it's a challenge sometimes because I set it up and everything's the same and then something doesn't work and then something doesn't work. And sometimes when I'm starting a bit late, that's usually what happens is I have some little technical mishap because there's a lot of moving pieces here. I have a camera switcher down at my feet and I'm getting pretty good at switching the cameras during the song. I try not to let it distract me, but it's good fun. I enjoy these streams. It's a really nice thing for me to connect with people all over the world. I've never played in the Philippines, so it's so cool. People are watching from there. Well, here's a new-ish song. I have a new album that I'm kind of working on. I've done the bulk of the recording. I just got to kind of mix it and finish it. So I have a new batch of songs, and then I have a new batch of instrumental songs that I'm hopefully gonna finish in the next while. So I'll play a new song from the upcoming release. This is called Promised Land. It's quite a fast one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me if I walk straight as a crow across the desert sand, there I will find my zen and flow. It'll take me on to the promised land. Take me on to the promised land. Tell me there's a bubbling brook ahead where I can wash these hands. There lies a scroll in the river's bed. It'll take me on to the promised land. Take me on to the promised land. Promised land. All the ways I could reach you. Promised land. All the ways that can preach you. Turning up every stone. Unrealized, deep unknown. Tell me there are words that I could speak as I fold my hands. Tell me if the bishop or the sheik can take me on to the promised land. Take me on to the promised land. Promised land. All the ways I could reach you. Promised land. All the ways that can breach you. Turning up every stone. feeling I've always known. Tell me if the moon hanging low tonight can help me understand the nature of my eternal flight as I search on for the promised land. As I search on for the promised land. As I search on for the promised land. All right, good fun. Let me switch back to the Telecaster here. Where is it? I put it on the floor. All right, I got a perfectly relevant question here from Coco Owl. People on YouTube, people have interesting names out there. My name is Joe Robinson. Joe is the 10th most common first name in the US, and Robinson is the 30th most common last name in the US. I was born in Australia, of course, but still gives you an interesting insight. So the question is, hey Joe, do you sell CDs for your songs? I would rather collect them. We have a Christmas sale going on at the moment, and not only can you purchase my Christmas album in vinyl for the first time, and there are limited copies of these, by the way, but I also have bundles of all my CDs. So I have 7 albums, and all of them are original material, except the Christmas album. I didn't write the Christmas songs. I recorded the kind of classic Christmas songs, but there are certain Christmas songs I didn't record, like The Drummer Boy. I had many requests not to record that song. So you can purchase a bundle of my CDs if you'd like to collect them. It's actually called the Collector Bundle. I have a collector bundle of CDs, and I have a collector bundle of vinyl records. And just so you all know, I have 4 vinyl albums. And the thing with vinyl is it's pretty expensive to manufacture them. And it takes like a year, just about, at all the plants all the plants that I know of, at least, because apparently like people like Adele and Taylor Swift come in and they book up all the plants, print as many copies as you can because we need millions of them. And so it can be hard to get vinyl pressed. So all that being said, there are limited quantities of the vinyl. I'm not sure I'll do another run of certain albums. So if you want to get the vinyl, then it's a good time to do it while I still have them. And also you get one of these cool beanies, just like I'm wearing, which will keep your head toasty warm during the winter months. I feel like I'm on the Home Shopping Network here trying to sell you all apparel. I used to have t-shirts and all kinds of different things, but I got out of the t-shirt business because you know what? It's so hard to keep sizes. Everyone has different sizes and the fit is never right. And I was like, I don't need to be dealing with that. Beanies are good because there's just one size and they keep your noggin nice and toasty. But I do have the CDs and the vinyls available, and you can just go to joerobinson.com/Christmas. It's important you use that link if you want to get all the bundles. And if you're in the US, shipping is free. If you're outside the US, shipping is a nightmare. So I apologize. It takes 3 to 6 weeks to ship CDs or ship anything physical outside the US. So if you're outside the US, you can purchase digital downloads. You can purchase the physical copies as well. It's just kind of takes a while for them to arrive. Sue O'Neill says, can the Christmas album be downloaded? Yes, it can, Sue. Thanks for asking. There's a link to download the album digitally, and there's 40% off the digital downloads, all my albums actually. So you can check that out. And CDs are great quality. Vinyls are better quality. And for anyone who disputes that, we mastered for vinyl separately than to CD. To CD, the resolution is 44.1 kilohertz and 16-bit. And the vinyl resolution we mastered from 96 kilohertz and 24-bit. I think maybe 32-bit, but 24-bit probably. So it's high resolution on vinyl. And if you purchase the digital download, you also get the high resolution option. So there you go. That's a little bit of information that very few people are interested in. But let me just tell you, it sounds a lot better than Spotify. Spotify just doesn't sound very good. If you listen to a snare drum on Spotify, and then you listen to a snare drum with a higher resolution playback service like Tidal or Amazon Music Unlimited, then you'll hear how different it sounds. It's really quite extraordinary. And it's kind of an interesting thought experiment to think of what Spotify has done to music, to the experience of music, to CDs. As much as they're just a kind of piece of plastic, they really do sound good, but the streaming services don't sound as good. And I think en masse, that's maybe kind of made people enjoy music less. Apple lossless. Yeah, I'm sure that's, if it's lossless, then I'm sure that's good quality as well. I've not really listened to Apple lossless before. But anyway, that's enough ranting and rambling for me. How about I play some swing music? What do you think about that? I'm in the mood for requests. I'll keep playing until the hour, roughly speaking. So if you do have any requests, fire away. Hit the road, Jack. That's a good request. And it swings. Oh yeah, it swings. Just checking my tuning. Or correcting my tuning, I should say. It's always a good day for some Ray Charles. There's an interesting question. How much of your time do you spend on being good at technology and internet? Too much of it. I wish I was to spend more time playing the guitar. I'm quite interested in hiring some people to do things like video editing and whatnot, but right now I do it all myself. And like if you go to joerobinson.com/Christmas, I built that web page. I'm quite good at building web pages. My wife is a brilliant artist and graphic designer. I know many of you follow her on YouTube and on Instagram and different platforms. Genevieve's Design Studio is where you can find her. And I'll take my page to her and say, hey, what do you think of this from a design perspective? And she always gives me some good feedback. But I'm quite handy at building the old web pages these days. It's part of the job description. Hit the road, Jack. Here we go. I must say I enjoy playing the guitar more, though. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. I was just laughing because I saw a comment that came up as I just started to play that song. John J. Hickey says, "Hey Joe, what was the first song you learned to play on the guitar, and do you still play it?" That was the very first song I learned to play on the guitar. And the way I learned to play it was a little different to that. It was just going... And then I used to say, "Hey brother, hey sister, hey bum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dee-dum-ba-dum." I used to just make up words about whatever I was interested in that day. So that was like the first song I learned. Then I learned Horse with No Name. And went on from there and probably learned some simple folk songs, that kind of thing. What made you choose the Telecaster to go electric, says Enrico. Well, over the years I've played many different guitars. I've played Gretsch's a lot, I've played a Strat a lot, I've played a Telecaster a lot, and I've kind of gone back and forth between a lot of different guitars. And I was on the road with Robin Ford, who's one of my favorite electric guitar players, and I was playing a Strat at the time, and he said, "Joe, what are you doing playing a Strat?" He said, "You need a guitar with a voice." And so he gave me his 1963, it was a SG, and I took that home and I played that for a while. And I've always kind of gravitated towards Fender guitars, although I love playing old Gibson guitars as well. But there's something nice and simple about a Telecaster. It's just like a piece of ash with a piece of maple bolted on. And it has a voice. It has a clarity and a kind of a poke to the note. Strats have a really cool sound as well, but Telecasters are louder. I guess that is part of it maybe. But he inspired me to kind of play the Telecaster more. And yeah, Enrico says, "I love Robin Ford. I love his playing too. He's just such a beautiful musician." Can you please play Little Martha, says Eric Kyle. You know, I have a version of Little Martha on YouTube. I can't really remember how to play it because it's in a different tuning, and I don't play in different tunings basically ever. I think that's the only song I've ever recorded in a tuning other than standard or drop D. I have like a couple songs in drop D, like Al Capone. That's about it. Joey says, would you ever release a metal album? Who knows? Who knows? I don't have any plans to. I do like heavy music. I like heavy music that has a real kind of earthy muscle to it. If it starts to be too like compressed, like, you know, all the metal music from the 90s was just compressed, so it's just, there's no dynamics. I feel like that became part of the metal sound. I don't like that. So I like real kind of muscular metal, heavier music. That's why I love Led Zeppelin for like a heavy sound, because the drums just had this muscle to them. But it depends on what you call metal. And anyway, I'm enjoying answering questions here. What are some of your favorite heavy rock bands or performers? Well, I grew up real inspired by Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, and also a lot of kind of progressive music, jazz fusion, that kind of thing. Some of that blends into heavier music. You know, sometimes musicians have the most conservative taste in music. We kind of just like what we like, and we go to our favorite players and people. But yeah, I mean, Zeppelin for a hard rock band is pretty kick-ass. Kick-ass. Just curious, any artist that you dig that maybe we wouldn't expect, says Ryan Chen? I like Tame Impala. Really liked the way Kevin Parker creates melodies. I think he's really a beautiful musical architect. What else? Can you play Cannonball Rag? Oh, that makes me smile. Igor says, what do you think about the new wave of guitar heroes like Nichika or something like that? Tom spending all these crazy Japanese stuff, a lot of tapping, etc. I know what you mean, Igor. I'm not sure I know who you're talking about. I think it's the fellow who does like the videos where he says, your mum tells you to clean your room, and it sounds like this. I don't know. I think it's all well and good. I feel like the standard of musicianship is getting better and better, which is pretty phenomenal. I think there are certain players from the past that really stand on their own that haven't been surpassed, like Lenny Bro, just really special players. People like Sean Lane, just absolutely spectacular. But there are new players coming up, like Matteo Mancuso is absolutely phenomenal. I think Kent Nishimura is absolutely phenomenal, and these guys are super young. And so I think the level of musicianship is increasing, partly because social media, people are attracted to really flashy kind of music. Kind of like my best videos are the flashy ones. They're the ones that perform the best, oftentimes. But here's another point. I think that the reason we're still playing songs from the 60s and 70s is because the songs were really well written back then. And I think a lot of modern music isn't as well written. Like the best modern music that is really well written, like Tame Impala, I think is really well written, and like all of Max Martin's pop songs were really well written. But I think a lot of the times the song kind of loses the focus, and it just becomes about, I don't know, something else. Anyway, Igor says, I totally agree with you. But I do really appreciate the flashy tappy stuff. I never really played tapping style guitar, and I mean, I get all kinds of interesting comments from people. If, like in Flow, I have this tap. It's not a tap, it's just a backbeat on one section of the song. And I had some nitpicker fella say, it'd be better if you didn't use the percussion in that song. And I'm like, it's in like one section and it's very light and it's not percussion, it's just like a subtle backbeat. But I don't make music for nitpickers, because if that ruins your enjoyment of a song, then I can't help you. I had a request for Tears in Heaven. Let's use that as an example of a beautifully crafted song. It was written by Eric and Will Jennings. And Will Jennings is a fellow that I had the pleasure of meeting. And he also wrote My Heart Will Go On. And I think he wrote a couple big hits for Steve Winwood too, maybe Higher Love. Just like some of my favorite songs ever. And the way the melody is written it's just perfect. It's just such a well-written song, if you ask me. And of course, the meaning and the words and everything about it is just a masterpiece. So it was one of the first fingerstyle songs I learned that really inspired me to play fingerstyle guitar. So I'll play Tears in Heaven for you all now. Incredibly touching song. Here we go. All right. That was Tears in Heaven, of course. So I do have a lesson for how to play that song here on my YouTube channel. So do check that out if you want to learn how to play Tears in Heaven. And there's tab available and all that. You have to purchase the tab because I don't own the copyright to it. So I see an interesting question from Alex G here, and I just want to tell you a little bit about my courses and the different ways that I teach music. I post a lot of song lessons on YouTube, and I'm getting ready to drop a bunch of Christmas songs. 'Tis the season, so get ready for that. just saying. I just recorded a 45-minute masterclass on arranging for my coaching community, which is a private community of students I have. And if you're interested in being part of that community, go to my teaching website, invisibletechnique.com, and go to the tab that says Coaching Community and join the wait list, because I'm going to open the coaching community again at the end of the year, right before New Year's. I'm going to open it for a few days and welcome in a new batch of students. So if you'd like to be a part of the community, it's pretty special. I'm trying to keep it to be a close-knit group, but I open it every now and then. The last time I opened it was in August, I think, September maybe. And I'm opening again the end of December. So you can join the coaching community. And if you're interested in learning to play like me, then I think the courses are the best way to do that. I've distilled the information. I have a few different programs. One program is called the Daily Exercises course, and it's basically all the left-hand exercises and right-hand exercises that I've used to develop my technique. I've been doing these exercises for years and years. So if your technique needs a little work, then I believe this program can really help you. It's helped countless people who've gone through it. I have just rave reviews. And you can view that course at invisibletechnique.com and go to the Daily Exercises program. I have a course on recording acoustic if you're interested in learning how to record acoustic guitar. And there's really not a lot of courses that teach you how to just create really beautiful acoustic guitar recordings. There's a lot of courses that teach you how to be a recording engineer, but most guitarists, you just want to know how to get a good sound on that guitar. And a lot of it has to do with mic placement and stereo miking techniques, that kind of thing, as well as preamps and mixing. And I teach all that in the recording program. So you can check that out if you're interested. I created it because I felt like there was nothing like that when I was learning how to record. I'm basically figured out how to get good sounds myself. I also have a program called Joe's 12, in which I interviewed a lot of my mentors, and we broke the course into 12 weeks, and each week is a different topic. So I have a topic such as practicing, and so you'll hear me talk about practicing in my routine, what I like to do, and then I interview Eric Johnson, who's one of my mentors. I interview Steve Vai, who's one of my mentors. I interview Tommy Emmanuel. I interview Robin Ford, John Jorgensen, just countless great players, great people who've been mentors to me, and you get to go through the course and get this cross-section of perspectives on things like songwriting, arranging, performing, touring, as well as kind of more philosophical things like your why you play music, why you spend all these hours practicing, because it's a little bit insane. You gotta realize. So anyway, I'm gonna quit rambling about that, but anyone who's interested in those courses can go to invisibletechnique.com and check it out, and be sure to download the 5 pillars of fingerstyle guitar as well, which is an interesting little kind of breakdown on what it takes to develop the guitar technique. So rock and roll. Many Vibes has a question. Yeah, another cool YouTube name. You know, I gotta be honest, I do have a policy on YouTube that if you don't use your real name, I'm not gonna reply. But a live stream's different, because obviously you're a real person. Many Vibes says, to anchor the pinky or to set it free? That is the question. My way of playing, my preferred pinky orientation on the right hand is to set it free. So for anyone who's wondering what that means, I'll give you a close-up here. So some people play with the pinky anchored on the guitar like this and kind of... and they'll play like that. But for me, I can't use my ring finger. Like the ring finger just doesn't... I can't use it. So I don't do that. I think some people have maybe double jointed pinkies or something. Everyone has different mobility in their fingers naturally. But for me, I use the pinky sometimes, but I definitely use the ring finger often. So for that reason, I set my pinky free. Thanks for the question. Kevin Lewis says, guitar is like golf. You never perfect it, but like medicine, you practice. I like that. Yeah, that's the joy of it for me, is the challenge of trying to play it all. It's kind of like a sport, watching a player who's playing music that really pushes their abilities, because it's like when they pull it off, it's like, oh, that was really cool. I got to witness something fun. Banjo picking, says David. Here's some banjo picking for you. Bit of Jerry's breakdown, some banjo rolls. Joey Highland says, do you own any baritones? I do not own a baritone guitar. I was just thinking to myself, I'm not going to buy any guitars next year, but maybe you've changed my mind there a little bit. I don't own a baritone guitar, and I actually don't own a nylon string guitar. I've been trying to find just like the perfect nylon string guitar. I really like flamenco guitars, but just haven't found one that kind of felt right yet. Tommy asked, do you use your nails? And if so, what do you do to shape them? I do not use my fingernails. I use the pads of my fingers, and the only thing I do to my nails is cut them. If they get to the point where they're touching the string, even slightly, it drives me nuts. It absolutely makes me bonkers, and I have to just keep them nice and short. I don't cut them so that they're so short that they kind of hurt when you play, but yeah, I just keep them so that there's not too much of the white layer poking out, if that made sense. So yeah, I just use the fingernails, and I like the way it sounds. It's kind of like the thumb pick, which I use, has a really bright sound, and the fingers have a warm sound. So it's a nice way to get separation between the bass notes and the melody notes. I think nails, they can sound really beautiful, but they can also sound really harsh. And a steel string guitar can be pretty tough on fingernails. On a nylon string guitar, it's kind of when nails sound really beautiful, I think. And just the pads of your fingers on a nylon string doesn't really have the projection. It's less of an issue on a steel string, I think, but because you can really kind of hack away at it. But on a nylon string, it's just a bit of a different thing. So there we go. Many Vibes said, did I miss Flow? Yeah, I played Flow earlier. Sorry you missed it. I guess I should wrap up pretty soon. We'll take another couple questions. Hey Joe, I want to play in CAS coming years. How do I apply for it? Thanks. Says Raina the Rapper. So for anyone who's interested in the Chet Atkins Appreciation Society Convention, which happens every summer in Nashville, they have a website. So I tracked down the website, Chet Atkins Appreciation Society Convention. I think it's chetsociety.com, something like that. And I'm sure there's information out there on people who can apply to perform. You could also go to the Facebook group. I think there's a Chet Atkins Appreciation Society Facebook group. And if you just post in there that you're looking to attend the convention and perform, maybe share a video of yourself playing, that's probably a good way to connect with some people who are involved in the convention. It's a really cool event, and it's a really wonderful group of people that organize it. So they'd love to have you, and that's how I would suggest going about it. Joey Harlan says, have you found any awesome local Montana venues you like to perform at? I played at the Ellen in Bozeman. I played a handful of theaters in Montana. We played in Missoula and Billings, I think, a few years ago, and loved those venues. But I'm not performing out too much these days. I am playing a show in Livingston in February at the Shane Center. I don't think it's been announced yet, but if you're in Montana, I'm playing here in February. But I spend a lot of time these days recording. I have a bunch of recording projects I'm kind of behind on. So that's going to keep me busy over the coming weeks. And I'll be performing next year in a handful of US cities. And you can just keep an eye on my website to find out about that. Take a couple more questions, and then I better say good evening to you all. Larry D'Amico says, do you have a certain brand of strings and what gauge? So I use Ernie Ball strings, and I like the Paradigm set, and I like the Earthwood set. And on this guitar, I use a set of 12 to 54, but I replaced the high E with a 14. So I like a bit of a heavier high E. On this old Gibson guitar here, which is from 1946, this guitar has 11 to 50, I think, something like that on it. So they're a bit lighter, and it's because the guitar is so old, I'm just nervous to put heavier strings on it. And the action's perfect with that gauge. On my electrics, I use 10 to 46, 10.5 to 48 sometimes. Just depends. Tommy says, when are you playing the Texas circuit? I hope to soon. I don't have anything on the books in Texas. It's touring's not what it once was, my experience. Do you have something Latin style? You know what? I could probably do with some more Latin arrangements. The tune that comes to mind is Affirmation, which was written by Jose Feliciano. Yeah, it's a beautiful style, and I love Joe Beam's compositions particularly. And I do love Texas. I love playing down in those parts. I've performed down in Austin and Houston and Dallas, San Antonio many times. All right, well, I better wish you a good evening. I do have a virtual tip jar. Just a reminder, the tip jar link is joerobinson.com/tip jar. If you enjoy the music and you want to leave a tip, thank you. And I have this Christmas special going on where you can get Christmas Au Chalet on vinyl. You can get a bundle of all my vinyl albums or a bundle of all my CDs, and it's free shipping in the US. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. I'm planning on doing regular streams, and I'm planning on starting up the Christmas tunes after Thanksgiving, which is next week here in the US for anyone outside the country. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Wait, Sue says, great question, Victor B. I don't want to miss the great question. Let me see if I can find it. I don't see it. Oh, do you own any vintage guitars? I have a 2 or 3 vintage guitars. I have this old Gibson from 43. I have this Gretsch from 59. And it's got a stereo pickup, so I can't plug it in. I got to get the stereo adapter and all that. But it's a really cool, beautiful guitar. And I have an old Gibson 175 from 54. So those are my... Oh, okay. That was the wrong question. I just realized I have a note here. Will you tour in Australia at any stage, was the question. I really hope to return to Australia soon. It's been like 4 years now or something. I didn't go home during the pandemic, and my wife Genevieve is here. We're waiting for her green card to be issued. And so once her green card is issued by the United States Customs and Immigration Services, USCIS, they are very, very slow right now. I mean, it's been like 3 years or something. But we're just waiting for them to issue her green card, and then I'll be able to maybe accept some international touring dates because her situation will be a little more secure. So I'm kind of just not really doing anything internationally until that point. But I do hope to return to Australia soon. Talking about a difficult country to tour, Australia is just a long way from everything, and the cities are very spread apart, and I do miss performing there. Certainly hope to return before too long. Anyway, I'm going to wish you all a good rest of your weekend. Take good care. Thanks for joining us, and see you all again soon. Stay tuned, and wish you all the best.